So what is this part about? Um, in PIE, there were words for geographical features and weather related, such as snow. So that means where the PIE was spoken had snow. Okay? And what else? They were nomadic. So who are the nomadic people? The people who lives in the steppes are nomadic. So they guessed that this was the area where the language was spoken. Scholars call the people that lived here the Kurgans, and the word Kurgan itself comes from a Turkish word that describes the culture as burial mounds. What is a mound? Mound is a large rounded pile. Alright, so burial mound is a big rounded pile. A grave that has a big rounded pile. Do you understand? So what is this part about? Finding the place where PIE was spoken. Okay, this was harder to determine because, and there are still disagreements among scholars. And this PIE had words that for geographical features and weather, such as snow, and it was passed on to a lot of Indo-European languages. And the PIE speakers were not dependent upon farming for a living, and they were nomadic, and they depended upon animals. So from these facts, the idea that the evolutionary linguists had was that PIE speakers came from an area in the steppes of modern-day Russia, which is the north of the Black Sea and the Caucasus Mountains. Scholars call the people that live here Kurgans. The word Kurgan itself comes from a Turkish word that means the culture's burial mounds. You understand? The Kurgan culture has tamed the horse. And from this location, from the central location, having this location at the center, it went further. It became larger, starting at around 3000 BC. Domesticate, what does that mean? That means to, if you domesticate a wild plant or an animal, you bring them under control so that you can use them to produce food or as pets. That's domesticating. Domestic means relating to the inside of a country, right? Or to a home or a family is domestic. Do you understand? So domesticate means to make that wild animal be used at homes. You understand? And then the Kurgan culture went to modern-day Turkey, Iran, and India. So in the end of this expansion was that they took over other cultures and languages. They became the ruling language, and it made other languages similar to it, which is the PIE, or removed them. So finally, the beginning of the Indo-European language families spread through Europe. Finally, the Indo-European language family had spread spread through Europe and the world. You understand? So what is this part about? This is part about the Kurgan culture. It domesticated the horse, and from this location, it went further, starting around 3000 BC. It moved west to Europe and south and east to modern-day Turkey, Iran, and India. Finally, the result of this expansion was taking over other cultures and languages, and PIE became the ruling language and made other languages similar to it or remove them. And the result was that the beginning of the Indo-European language family spreading led to the final result was the beginning of the spreading of the Indo-European language through Europe and the whole world. You understand? So, the word strive in the passage is closest in meaning to strive. The linguists strive to discover the origins. They tried to. They made effort. All right. You can infer the meaning. So what would the answer be? Attempt, right? What does presume mean? Presume means you think that something is true, although you don't know it for sure. Okay. What does aspire mean? Aspire means to have a strong desire to do something. You understand? So B would be the answer for this question. The word which in the passage refers to what? Which? These include determining the presence of similar words in different languages, which they subsequently used to search for common language that served as the basis for more modern languages. Subsequently, that means after something, all right? So what is which? Who's they? They are the linguists, right? So what did they use? The similar words, right? They used the similar words to search for a common language. So what is the answer now? Similar words in different languages. C would be the answer. 3. Why does the author mention archaeology? To do what? To discuss one of branches of study that is closely related to linguistics. It's not to do this, right? Why did the author mention archaeology? This method was not perfect. What is this method? Finding similar words to search for a common language that served as the basis of modern languages, right? So, by using the subjects of history and archaeology, the linguists put together the information to find out where the languages came from and how they developed. So why did he mention archaeology? It's because these helped. Because the searching for similar words in different languages was not perfect. They helped. So what is the answer then? To compare its importance. Hold on. So it's not to discuss one of the branches of study that's closely related to linguistics. and to compare its importance to linguists with that of the study of history. It's not to do this either. To explain how it was effective in helping linguists learn about the past. So this is right? It helped because the method of finding similar words in different languages was not perfect. D. To name a field of study linguists must use in the course of their research. It's not that they must use, the linguists must use the archaeology. So the answer would be what? C. The word intricacies in the passage is closest in meaning to what? Intricacy. One example of the intricacy can be seen in PIE. So it is hard to infer the meaning of intricacies from the passage. So you have to know the meaning of it. Intricacies mean what? Being complex. So the answer would be B. Do you understand? According to paragraph 2, which is true, of the Proto-Indo-European, at one point in time, more than half of the world's population spoke it. This is right. This PIE is the source of the Indo-European languages that more than half of the world speaks. So it doesn't mean that PIE was spoken by more than half of the world's population. It's the Indo-European language, all right? So this is wrong. It was the source of many different languages in both Europe and Asia. It was the source. PIE is the source for the Indo-European languages. And where was this this language family spoken? In Europe and Baltic and East Europe and Asia as well. Do you understand? So B is true in both Europe and Asia. You understand? Because they mentioned India and what else? Iran. Those countries are in Asia. It caused European language eventually to spread throughout the world. European languages. It didn't cause them, right? It was a beginning of them. And it's not European, it's Indo-European. Many of its words were adapted by close to 5,000 of the world's languages. No, right? What did it say? The Indo-European language consists of only 140 of the world's more than 5,000 languages. So they don't have nothing to do with 5,000 languages. Do you understand? So D is wrong. So what's the answer? B, right? B.